Thank you, each and every one of you today, for being here today. It's vitally important, and I know that I was running back and forth between other hearings as well, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I was here today. And I want to give an exceptional thank you and welcome to Mama Gwen, as I call her, Ms. Gwen Carr. She and I have worked together as one of the mothers of the movement, traveling around the country on this very vitally important issue. And your testimony was powerful and just so invaluable. And I'll say more about that in just a minute. First, I want to say how much I appreciate the law enforcement officers who do put their lives on the line every day for the communities that they serve. And those officers who serve their communities with the dignity and respect that they deserve. Our officers do face difficult situations, and we must empower them to respond appropriately. It is imperative we give them evidence-based training in implicit bias. We must also invest in community-based policing. Most importantly, we must hold individuals accountable when they abuse the power that we, the people, have given them. No doubt we have more work to do to build bridges that connect law enforcement and our communities. Our communities must respect law enforcement as our protectors, not the enemy. But our police must continually earn that respect. Police cannot see their communities as the enemy either. Rather, they must respect the human dignity of every person that they encounter, even and especially when it is challenging for them to do so. That is much easier when our law enforcement officers look like the communities that they serve and see that community as their brothers, their sisters, and their neighbors. When that fails to happen, the costs are great. We know this from the personal stories that we've heard today, and we also know it from the data. A 2017 study of over 1,100 lawsuits against law enforcement, the largest study of its kind to date, found that our legal framework for these cases, the doctrine of qualified immunity, is not even achieving its stated goals. It is often raised as a defense at a trial, not in the early stages of litigation as it was intended. Of course, the human toll is the most significant reason for the need for reform, but the financial costs are also significant. Contrary to what you might hear, a study found that taxpayers ultimately pay for 99.98% of the amount paid to victims and families when an officer abuses his or her power. Those who abuse their power often serve no time and don't pay families a single cent for the immeasurable harms they have caused. But not enough can ever be said about the lives that we have lost when officers dehumanize and devalue the life of another person. And I want to say to my mother's sister, I want to say to her, as I call her Mama Gwen, thank you for sharing your story, a story of injustice you and your family and your son Eric Garner should never have ever had to bear. And we will keep fighting for Eric. We will honor his memory and all those that are taken from us by abuses of power. We will not forget Eric, and we will not forget the stories of those who are speaking out. Mama Gwen, your voice is truly a catalyst for change, and I thank you for that. I speak to you, mother to mother, and I hope that we can make sure that not another person ever bears the pain of losing a child, such as you have or such as I have. Until you suffer the death of your child, you can never truly understand the depth of inequity and inequality that we still face in this country. And I vow to you that we will take action. We will hold people accountable when they have the power to do right and choose instead to devalue life. And when our systems are failing to those who abuse power, and when our systems are failing to hold those who abuse power accountable, we must see to it that these systems change. It is imperative our law enforcement and our citizens work together to build the trust, the respect, and the community that every American in this country deserves. And I yield back the balance of my
The
time.
lady yields back. Lady.